Hello everybody and welcome back to the best reactions. Today we are going to have to, and I mean have to, look back at some of the memes from the Dutch Grand Prix. I wonder what they might be. I wonder what team they might focus on, or perhaps what driver. Well, you'll have to wait and see. Hashtag P1 if you want to get involved in the future and potentially win some P1 merch. Let's get into the top 10. P10, Alex J. Caboose, Albon, lap 1. Now that picture is indeed the wrong picture. Of course, Verstappen was not leading into turn 1, albeit some people would have wanted that for a slightly better race at the front. But Albon, up 5. Up 5 on the first lap is, quite frankly, phenomenal around a place like Zandvoort. The rocket, to be fair, the rocket's actually a very good meme, use of the meme as well. You know, if you think it's quite funny, but also on top of that, the rocket doesn't, well, I was going to say it doesn't, whenever I use the rocket, it never hits any other cars, but it actually can, can't it? So I always see the rocket as quite a polite method of transport. So well done, Albon. Don't know what I'm saying. I'm still crying because of certain results. P9, XH26, Alonso to Aston. I felt like we were getting the Fernando Alonso McLaren Honda days where he was unleashing. There was a few F-bombs about him being left in traffic, and he doesn't know what the balance of the hard tyre is like because there's so much dirty air. How is he supposed to be able to measure? So then they went on the aggressive strategy of pitting him and deciding that overtakes can happen at Zandvoort. I don't know whether a point would have been on the cards had it not been for the amount of safety cars and things like that we had afterwards. But it gave us action at least, didn't it? Because everybody else was just stuck in the train, not really doing a huge amount. And then Alonso bit the bullet. P8, I don't know how, Krzyzewski, maybe, let's see. But yes, we are going to include this one, of course we are, because it's about Kimi Antonelli and the fact that he took out my boy, Charles Leclerc. Yes, I couldn't wear Ferrari merch today. I just felt like I need to celebrate the Ollie Behrman. Well, to be fair, the double Haas points finish, so congratulations to them. But back to Kimi Antonelli ruining Leclerc's race. He did indeed. Big old. I actually saw, to be fair, I was going to say a big old understeer, a bit of a lockup as well. I think I saw some people saying that it maybe wasn't a penalty. It was a racing incident. No. I know I might be blinded ever so slightly with some rose-tinted glasses, but no, that is not a racing incident. Absolutely deserving of a penalty for Kimi Antonelli. And he's got to go back to his hometown in Italy, where, of course, he will probably be one of the favourite, like the home heroes and things like that. But also on the flip side of that, he just took out a Ferrari driver in the previous race. Okay, something away from the top 10, and this has to be spoken about. It's been posted quite a few places, so you may have already seen it. It's, of course, Hajar breaking his trophy. Now, I'm not going to hold anything against him for this one. You know, Lando on the podium in Hungary, that was last year, wasn't it? That was chaotic, and, you know, you can say, maybe you shouldn't have done this, maybe you shouldn't have done that. For this, Hajar literally placed the trophy down, and it just broke in half. How fragile was that little joining bit? He was just holding it there. Yeah, puts it down, snaps in two. For Hajar as well, literally his first ever podium. I hope that they will get him a fresh one rather than a trophy that's just going to be super glued together. But I'm still happy for him. I'm sure he's not completely distraught, albeit in that picture, very distraught. But maybe we don't make such fragile trophies. P7, Mr. Idiot. Anyone up for a picnic? Oh, there it is. There it is. I bet you wondered, when is this going to come up in the Best Reactions episode? Well, welcome. We have the Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris Hill. Kind of, if you watch tennis, it's like Henman Hill at Wimbledon. This is now the Leclerc-Lando Hill. They've got a lovely picnic, to be fair. Mr. Idiot has given them quite a lot of grapes. There's a bit of cheese in that. Beautiful. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted because I'm trying to cope. Just the Lando thing was, of course, you know, there was some pictures, of course, of him being quite upset. But for Charles, they unleashed a photo shoot on him, and I feel like my boy Charles knew that. He knew that was coming. He knew pictures were being taken. He's like, these are going to be fire. As much as he'd been taken out, of course he's going to be upset about what happened. But he started posing just a little bit. Just a little look up over there, look up over there. He knows what he's doing, but thank you. I enjoyed the content in terms of the poses, and I think everybody did. It's being posted literally everywhere on social media. So, yes, that is going to be a meme for the rest of the season, isn't it? P6, F1 Ind 1, Chile was smoking. Yes, Carlos Sainz, myself and Tommy, of course, spoke about the incident on the podcast, and Carlos was ready to... I mean, there's an amazing, is it the Family Guy one as well I saw a clip of with the shotgun, and just things like that. It was very much, I want to go see, I just want to go visit them. I just want to go see them. And that's what I want. I just want to go talk. Just want to go talk. I think he wanted to shout at them. Not that it affected his race in the slightest, but it was a bizarre penalty to give out. I've seen some people saying, look, it's because he was nowhere near, and you have to be at least halfway alongside the car ahead if you're going to try and make a move, especially around the outside. And I get that, but I also don't think Carlos was at fault particularly for the collision. I felt like it was very much a racing incident where both of them perhaps just converged. So yeah, I still absolutely stand on the 10-second penalty being complete and utter rubbish for Carlos Sainz, and I am glad. I think I'm glad in some ways, because I also heard that the stewards refused to see him, which is wild, isn't it? Maybe just wanted an explanation. Just tell me, FIA, what did I do wrong? Honourable mentions. Okay, this next one, Rob the Bob, perfectly comes after the last one. Carlos Sainz on his way to the stewards after the race. I just want to talk. Oh dear. Yeah, I find it wild that the stewards, because I think this was from Carlos himself saying that they didn't want to talk to him. It's just a bit mad, isn't it? Even if it's just from an educational piece. You know, there wasn't an appeal. There can't be an appeal. It's very much just a, can I understand why? And apparently not. So that's great running of the sport, in my opinion. Sarcasm. Next up, Oscar but slower. I can't be the only one who sees the vision. It's a High School Musical reference. I enjoy it a lot. You know I enjoy it a lot if you've been watching what I do for a while now. Bit of Troy. Bet on it. I'm a fan. And although, well, to be fair though, Troy actually was quite upset in that scene as well. I'm not going to get into the High School Musical lore. So it does kind of match up, although Charles did not break into song, and I wish he had now. I'm not gonna stop till I get my shot. That's who I am, that's my plan. On top of me, man on a bed. The Vortex 99, Yuki watching RB get a podium. We did get Yuki points, but we didn't get a Yuki podium. And yeah, I really do wonder, obviously, away from the PR stuff and the I'm really happy for blah, 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 and, you know, we're just trying to improve the car. I wonder what Yuki genuinely feels like at this current stage of his Red Bull promotion, because it must be a weird sort of set of emotions to process, because you're in the main team. You're in where you've been literally trying to prove yourself to get into this entire time. You get there and you look at the team you've just left that you probably wanted to leave to get promoted for quite some time, getting podium, well, not podiums, just a podium, but then really good results as well and lots of points. It must be a really weird thing as a driver to see that. Noel Raj S, Yuki reacting to him being replaced by Hajar. I don't know. I don't think this is going to happen. Just because Hajar's had a podium, I think it stays as is. And then next year, Tommy's very concerned that Yuki might be gone fully. I'm not so sure, but at the same time, it's not looking particularly rosy for Yuki at the moment. Lars Kek W. Lur. FIA, just leave him alone, man. I know, right? I'm going to get into this very soon. Don't you worry. I'm popping off an entire segment about this very shortly, so look forward to that. It's controversial opinion time. Tom Bellingham is here, and he has submitted a juicy one. Tommy, are you excited to discuss this one?
Oh, let's dive into it.
Okay, so it comes in from ACO Mofile. Zach Brown doesn't care about an Oscar win. The floor is yours.
Oh, you're not going? All right, I'll go first. Look, I do not envy being a person on the pit wall at McLaren in a situation like what happened in that race, or any kind of team principal or person in Formula One now, because the amount of times I will see a clip on TikTok or something of someone's expression or a picture of someone as it cuts them on the pit wall, and you're trying to make this entire narrative over something that's happened. And I've seen it with Stella supposedly, laughing at Lando. He supposedly, doesn't like Lando, and Zach Brown supposedly loves Lando more than Oscar and doesn't want to celebrate the victory. I wouldn't want to be in McLaren's shoes, because you flip that around, because I assume this is the fact that it showed Zach Brown basically looking a bit somber or not really celebrating too much. Imagine if he'd been fist pumping, going, yeah, this is amazing. He's got 2 drivers in the World Championship. It's nothing. It's no discredit to Oscar. He just has to play it a bit cooler because one of his guys, through no fault of his own, has lost a big chunk of points and could affect his World Championship standings. So it's not as deep as people think it is, in my opinion.
No, I don't think it's as deep either. I've seen, the smirk of Andrea Stella. Oh my God, he's laughing at the fact Lando's out of the race. I think that's a big stretch, to be honest with you. And look, I'm not denying that I think Zach Brown definitely has a better relationship with Lando Norris. I think there's no denying that, because he plays golf with him, and Lando's been part of the team for a very long time. So I'm sure Zach does want to see Lando do well. But I think it can also exist that he's happy to see Oscar do well as another driver in his team, and that he doesn't therefore want, the absolute worst for Oscar Piastri. Like, as a human level, perhaps there is a small bit of bias from Zach to Lando, just because I'm sure he would love to see Lando as world champion. But that's not to say that he's then upset that Oscar is doing well. And I completely agree with you, Tommy. There is no right way of going about it when you have a driver that has just DNF'd. You can't be celebrating it in the same way. So I think that's what social media will do, right? They will pick a narrative that suits them and what biases they have into whatever driver. So I think that's what we're seeing. There you go. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you for the controversial opinion. We'll see you very soon.
Bye.
P5, Harvey Lim 864. Take a bow, Isaac Hajar, or Isak Hajar. Hajar? Isak Hajar. I know that's the full absolute pronunciation of it. I love the picture that they've used of this. Obviously, we've seen the meme template a million times before, but that is a very, very young Hajar right there. And I think we all, I don't know if you felt the same as I did, but when I was watching this, P4, I went, great result. This is going to be a really solid result for Isaac. And then as soon as he went into the podium, it felt like Hulkenberg all over again, where it didn't feel real. And we're sat here going, another non-top 4 team getting a podium. And this time not in a crazy race. Yes, Lando DNF'd, but Hajar had the pace the entire race to stay in 4th. And he was doing a miraculous job up until that point anyway. Right, this had to be included. Of course, it's away from the top 10. It's from Scuderia F1. Who did this? Charles Leclerc's VIP seat. Now, I've looked it up. I don't think this is real. If it is, fair play. Even the fact that it's an idea, I like it a lot as a meme, as if you're gonna laugh at it. But why is this a thing? Like, how is it a thing? Charles was having such a good race. He was proper. That move on George Russell. Can we just reflect? By the way, I will say, I know we said about the Sainz penalty being absolute rubbish. Fair play to the stewards for actually realising that was some good wheel-to-wheel combat. Yes, there was a bit of touching, a bit of rubbing, and perhaps a wheel or 2 or 4 off the track. But they realised that that's the kind of racing we want to see, and also that it did still tick a box in the regulations that it was legal, because Charles was alongside enough to be warranted room. So I don't know how I've managed to turn that away from the VIP seat, but you know what I'm saying. Like, let's stick to the positives. P4, Elite Merchant. New week, same story. Check out this book I found. Yeah. We don't get to see all too much of that, and when we do, well, of course, Canada happened. But look, it's 34 points now, And if you listen to the sort of narrative that's going on, apparently now Lando is going to drive like a man unleashed. He's going to try and win every race, and although that's kind of what he was trying to do anyway, I don't feel like it will change much of the complexion of the title battle. Although, that being said, I'm processing it as I'm speaking. Lando might go for we've seen Oscar go for a couple of moves that were very close to being contact between his teammate. Lando's, I'd say, more measured in terms of when he goes for moves. So, my laptop's taking off, by the way, if you can hear that. Really sorry, it's overheating. Not going to make a joke about Lando's car being similar to that. But I think that genuinely, the wheel-to-wheel battles will come, and perhaps Lando now will take more risks because of the fact he's behind a little bit more. P3, and in the Hajar place on the podium, is Lobo 1. See, it doesn't even hurt anymore. Now, this is third because this is such a good meme. This accurately depicts what a Formula One Ferrari fan is all about. We've experienced so much heartbreak, disappointment, potential. That's why we have such falls, because we are so back. We'll be back, I'm sure, again this weekend for Monza, although Hamilton has a 5-place penalty. We'll talk about that as I say. But yeah, it's that there's no F1 fan that comes close, I don't think, to what Ferrari fans have had to endure since 2008. Since 2008. It's a long time. P2, since M. Shumi, so much rain this weekend. Broken promises everywhere. Absolutely. Where did the rain go? Oh, the rain's hitting the track in 3 minutes. We're going to get 7 to 11 laps of Class 1 intensity rain. Might need the intermediates, but we don't know. How much bait? How much bait were those team radios? And what did we get? We even saw rain falling. Did it impact the race in the slightest? No. Well, it took Hamilton out because it was a bit slippery and yeah. But apart from that, the intermediates wasn't even a sniff of an intermediate. Right, before we get into P1, I want to dive into something a little bit that's kind of annoyed me. As you know, it's the Lewis Hamilton 5-place penalty for Monza. And it's not just because he got the penalty and the fact that he was deemed to be going too fast. Essentially, if you didn't see what happened, Hamilton was diving into the pits before the race start. So essentially, practicing his pit entry. Everyone's on the grid and things like that, and he comes in. But the problem is there's double waved yellows round the last banking the last corner of Zandvoort. So you have to slow down, you have to show that you're slowing down. And he only slowed by 20 kilometers an hour, which the stewards deemed not to slow down more than, we didn't slow down enough, and therefore they penalised him. Fine, okay, that's their opinion. The problem I have is that happened before the start of the race. And they investigated it afterwards. After Hamilton was out of the race, of course, he made a mistake, crashed and whatever. How many times have I complained about stewards? How many times have everybody been sort of unhappy with how the stewards run things when it comes to decisions? But I don't know how this makes sense that Hamilton gets a 5-place penalty for something he did before the start of the race in Zandvoort. It just doesn't make sense. Just make a decision. Why do they always have to go and sit in a dark room and talk about it for 4 hours before they make any kind of decision? It baffles me. So that didn't sit right with me at all. Did it sit right with you? Let me know in the comments. Finally, the winner of the best reactions to the Dutch Grand Prix is Greg Cash. It's a red wedding in the Netherlands. I mean, this is a really good reference. I'm not a Game of Thrones absolute stan, but I get this reference and I think it's very good. Because, of course, Charles Leclerc and George Russell had a little bit of a ding-dong, a bit of contact, a bit of damage for George Russell. And then the Antonelli incident happened. I won't explain it any more than that, but I think it's a very good meme, Greg, and you win. You win some P1 merch or be in contact. Right, that is it. Thank you so much for tuning in to the best reactions to the Dutch Grand Prix. We're straight back for the Italian Grand Prix this weekend. Monza. Can Ferrari deliver? I will be head to toe in Ferrari stuff. Maybe. Let's see. Well, I don't know how high the hopium's going to be, but if we're top on practice on Friday, you best believe we're so back. Thank you, everybody, for getting involved. Hashtag P1 if you want to get involved next time, and we'll see you very soon. Bye!